It's Tuesday, and we're here.
Yes, we are.
You gonna talk, Kim, or what?
Yes. Yes, we are here.
Anyways, so what are we doing?
We
You
are.
having fun yet?
Yes, we're having a ball.
Okay. We're having a ball.
Yeah.
Interesting. Kim's having a ball. So you want to say hello to the chat or what?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Please get your shit together.
It's gonna be one of those nights. I can already tell.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. And we're just Nicole's grabbing a light real quick, and once she's ready, we'll bring her in.
Like to say hello to you, Baldo.
Holy
Rolando.
Whoa, hold it. You actually said it right. All right, go ahead.
And Kenny and thank you for joining us in the chat. It's going to be a good show tonight.
It is. And what are we talking about tonight?
We're talking about Dolly's Coat of Many Colors, both movies.
Right. We're talking about the first movie that came out in 2015.
And then the sequel to in 2016.
Christmas of Many Colors, Circle of Love.
Yep.
And see, Nicole's
already there.
Nope.
Nope, she's saying
not ready.
She's not ready.
Not ready.
She's saying 1 minute. 1 minute.
1 minute. Give me a minute. So, hey, wait, guess what? I can finally hit this for Nicole then.
Please get your shit together.
Oh, Lord. All right. So, well, let's see. You want to just go ahead and
let's go ahead and just
let's party on with the Patreons here real quick.
Yeah, while we're waiting.
Oh, here we go.
Nice.
Oh, wait. I was waiting for you to start singing the song Two Doors Down because we're having a party 2 doors down.
Yeah.
You all know it's a party.
It is.
It's always a
Dolly party.
It is. Definitely a Dolly party tonight. How you doing, Nicole?
I am swell. I'm excited because one, thank you guys that you guys took this wonderful idea and went, okay, I guess we could do this more than just for Elvis. Because I swear, I think it's possible that we might have a longer Dolly series than we do an Elvis series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Because she has done some things that I'm like, dude, I didn't even think about it. Or, dude, like, there are movies that she's not in that are based on her, but not based on her life.
Right.
Because of her. And she's so inspiring and just wonderful and fantastic and fabulous and rhinestones and all that jazz. So.
Exactly.
Love her. So, yeah, I thought I'd grab out a few of my records here. Just a few. Yeah. Just a few.
Well, I mean, really, when it boils down to it, we got Ubaldo to think for this.
Yes, thank you, Ubaldo. This is all because of you, sir.
Because, we were originally going to do American Graffiti, and then after the show last week, we're chit-chatting like we always do after the show's over. And Nicole, hey, did you see what Ubaldo put in the chat? And I'm like, no, I totally missed it. So we were scrolling back through, we find it where, the 50th anniversary of American Graffiti is on August 1st. Nicole's looking it up. Oh, that's a Tuesday. Oh, wait a minute. Huh. How about we pump the brakes on this, figure something else out, and then Nicole brought up the idea of doing Coat of Many Colors and Christmas of Many Colors.
Circle of Love.
And then I went, Dolly series.
Yeah, and then as we got talking, it became more and more of a Dolly series. And we can do, we're going to do it with Elvis. Why not?
Exactly.
I mean, me and Kim can attest to this because last year we did Reba McEntire.
I remember that. I was dying in the chat. I was like,
right.
I put myself through the screen. I would have been there with you guys.
And I felt we barely scratched the surface. I mean, we had to rush through to get through her career, and I didn't like it.
No.
Because we had to it was literally scratching the surface with her.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe, especially a lot of these artists who have long careers, to be able to do do them in a series versus a one-off show, because a one-off show, you're going to get so much in and you're going to miss so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I think there's another good thing is that with now pushing back American Graffiti, we're going to expand it now. Now there are things we're going to be looking at and doing special because of that. So I'm looking forward to this because I'm looking forward to whatever additional stuff we're going to create and be like, yeah, let's do that too. Yeah, let's add that in. Oh, let's do that.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling this show is going to become its own life.
Oh yeah, it will. Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, these artists, especially these ones that have been around for decades, and they got so much material out. It is so hard to just touch on.
But for Dolly, though, it's not just about material. It's everything else.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything else. Like, I'm like, she has done more stuff than I have yet to do. I'm like going, how? One person, how? Like, she's just done so much. And so we're going to be expanding on all of that and more, like, in this series. And I'm so excited for that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because we're going to talk about who she really is, because you're always seeing her every time she's on TV. She's always talking about where she grew up. She's never forgotten where she came from. Never.
And I also like the fact that it feels like a little bit of country and a little bit of rock and roll.
Yeah.
And I know once we get to the music part, we're going to touch base about her and Elvis during that one. So you'll have to stay tuned for that one.
Yeah.
And we are not saying, and if you know already, don't talk about it in the chat. Save Elvis and Dolly for when we get to the music part of the series, which will be another day.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I guess before we
that one. I remember last week when we were chatting about this, and I said, and it connects to our Elvis series.
Yeah. Exactly. But I think before we get into the main topic and get going here, we got a few people to thank.
Yes.
And we got some business to take care of. Right,
taking care of business every day. Taking care of business. Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
Okay, that's one. We talked about this last week, Scott. How many songs can Nicole sing because of a word or words?
Yes.
Thank you to our Patreons, Luna Girl and Dragon Buddy, Don Dellis Nuchsolski, Nicholas Schaefer, Steve Long, Hannah, Mikey, Brinley, and Case. Join our Patreon. Go to patreon.com/usedabusedpod.
Speaking of Patreon, a new unboxing video just got released today.
Yes.
Yeah, and I saw and I liked it.
So take a look, Patrons, take a look.
Yep. And if you want to become a patron, again, go to patreon.com, use pod. The only one we have is $5 a month.
Yep, $5 is all. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you are new to the channel, click subscribe, then click the bell to be notified when we go live.
Ding, I need a ding.
Yes, you do. Search for Used and Abused Pod today on all of your favorite podcasting apps, including Apple, Google, Audible, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.
He's naughty.
Don't flick a ring. Don't flick a ring. Actually,
I kind of thought you cut your finger on the stand there.
Oh no, I did it on purpose. I flicked it on purpose.
Ubaldo, cheers. 1, cheers. 2, no driving afterwards.
The new use abuse drinking game.
Who knew?
Exactly.
Brought to you here first by our friend Ubaldo.
Exactly.
As long as there's no tears and beers.
There's a tear in my beer.
I did that on purpose.
Crying for you.
I did that one on purpose.
I had a feeling that you did. Oh, I could hear the song now, a different song now. It's the question is, do I sing it or do I move on? Just so we can finally get there.
Used and Abused Pod is on Facebook, the Gram, and Twitter.
Still the Gram.
You can email us at usedandabusedpod@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail at 928-719-0749.
Where that thing works.
Go to tpublic.com and search for Used Abused, all lowercase, for our merch store. There are t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, face masks, onesies,
Oh,
coffee mugs, etc.
ta-da!
And there's one of the coffee mugs.
That is so cool.
Red 5.
Yep, we are a proud member of the Red 5 Network. Go to bio.link/Red5 to find more exciting podcasts where there's a podcast for everyone and every interest. Let's just put it that way. Check out our check out our our Cantina family, which includes the Sidebar Cantina live every Monday on
No, they were
YouTube.
off yesterday. They needed a break.
Yeah, on YouTube at 5:30 Eastern time. ATSW, the Escape Pod, Pantless Wednesday, every other Wednesday, that is, live on YouTube.
They'll be back tomorrow.
Yep.
They're going to do double feature the new Ant-Man movie and Cocaine Bear.
Yep. And
I've
they are...
seen Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania twice now.
Oh, nice.
I saw it the second time. My friend Brandon, he might be listening in, maybe. We saw it in 4DX. That was awesome.
Cool.
I have to admit, he surprised me. I thought we were going to see it in 3D. We ended up seeing 4DX, and I was just like, oh, wow, this is awesome. Because it was awesome. It was really cool.
Awesome.
And they're live at 7:05 Eastern.
That's 7:05 Eastern.
Yeah, 7:05 Eastern. Also on Saturdays, too, is Stranger Things Has Happened with your hosts, Luna Girl and Dawn. They're going through and watching the series Stranger Things for the first time. And then they go through and they break down each episode, which is really good. And that's at 6 p.m. Eastern time.
When they have a new show.
Yeah.
I mean, just watch the Red 5 Network and you'll know when they go live or when they're going to have a show.
Also on YouTube is Layman's Terms. And he is only on YouTube. So if you want to hear some drunken banter, go to his channel and enjoy him because he's got a whole load of subjects he's already done.
Drunken banter with Magic the Gathering talk.
And he might now have competition. I mean, Ubaldo created a whole new drinking game, right? For our...
Yeah, I know, right? That'd be crazy.
Also...
Drive me crazy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Scott.
You're welcome.
Cheers.
Also, the Orange and Fett Show is on Spotify and YouTube. Go ahead and give them a follow and a like on YouTube, and also listen to them on Spotify. They come up with some excellent subjects too. I just don't know what their latest one was.
I don't know. The last one I know was Cocoon.
Yeah.
And Cocoon.
Oh, so that's not even a song.
There.
And then Swede has his Swede Studios that he's working on.
Right. He just released a new quarantine sessions video.
Yeah, he did.
I think it was a cover of a Prong song. If I remember right.
And then also, and that's also on YouTube too. Go check him out. Also Explicit Noise. They're on YouTube too. That consists of Swede, Luna Girl's brother, and another friend that has been friends since high school.
Yeah, something like that.
As a reminder, all links are in the show notes, pinned to the top of our Twitter page, and go to bio.link/usedabusedpod.
I swear to God, you're gonna say twatter. Ouch. Then I hit the microphone.
That's now the second time you've hit it.
Oh, yep. Ubaldo brings it up before we start. Anybody ready for Mandalorian?
Yeah.
I'll be playing video games.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, if I remember to turn it over,
we will.
To Disney Plus at midnight our time, or no, 1 o'clock our time. I'll remember. But if I don't, then I'll catch it tomorrow.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready. I've got Grogu in place. Got a bunch of coffee mugs. Hello, Isaac. Welcome to the show.
Isaac.
We'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm excited, but we'll see. We'll see.
And also we forgot one shout out. This is also going to be at the end of our video, but we also want to thank Adam for
our graphics.
Yeah,
our
graphics.
Makers. Yep.
Our graphics. Thank you, Nicole. The word escaped me.
The new logo.
Yep. Adam, from a certain point of view.
Thank you very much to him.
Exactly.
Yes.
But with that being said, anybody got anything to share?
Oh, I always have stuff to share. So the question is how much do I share today and wait for the other stuff?
Exactly.
Actually, I do have one thing I could share. I mean, I've got a lot of things to share. Let me be honest. I have a lot to share, but I'm only going to show so much. I'm going to share one particular thing that actually just came in last night, and I already started reading it. Give me a second. Yes, you're only getting a half a face. Hey, at least you get to check out Dolly. Seriously.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, no. I have. Oh, no. I have something really. Actually, no. There's something else I want to share. So if you want to go first, let me grab it because it's across my room, and I've got to grab it.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'm so excited, you guys. You'll know why. So if you want to go first, Scott and Kim, I will.
Oh, we got nothing. We got nothing. But we'll entertain the crowd.
Well, please do.
Always.
I know I should be getting my stuff together, but you know.
Please get your shit together.
I told you it's gonna be one of those nights,
right? Well, I mean, the thing is earlier over the weekend I played the full song.
Yeah,
we went in and obviously it's by Danger. The song is called "Get Your Shit Together."
Yep.
And played that, kind of threw you off for a loop. You're like, what the hell was it coming from?
Yeah, it did. Oh.
Okay, so I looked up really quick. I didn't see green. All I see was the side, right? And the first thing that popped in my mind is those Muppet dudes. Is that one?
Well, technically, you're not wrong. I mean, he is voiced by Frank Oz.
Yeah. So I mean, I was thinking about the one, not the older skinny one, the other rounder head one. It was like I just looked at stuff, boom, like, oh, that's awesome.
That is so cool.
So he came through. I saw him last week, and 2 days later, he was still there. And I was like, he's coming home. It's Clone Wars Yoda. He's coming home, and he's mine. I mean, he is. He's tall. Look how tall he is.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's on my lap, he's about 2 feet, maybe more. Yes, wait.
That's awesome.
So now I have a Yoda, and I got Grogu. Obviously, I have the most of Grogu, but so this is my first real like Yoda thing that's like beyond like artwork or anything. So I'm excited.
Right on.
To have him. And for the other thing, Yoda has to sit for the moment. Anybody who knows me knows that the year 1939 is absolutely a wonderful year to me. And I like the movies like Gone with the Wind and Wizard of Oz. I'm going to have to move Yoda so I can show this. I decided I wanted to do some more research because I saw a comment. One, I've read her biography, and this is Margaret Mitchell, who I'm talking about. And I had recently saw a different video from somewhere else, and I'm like, no, her stuff is based on first real accounts. Well, lo and behold, I went and did some more research, and they actually printed off all of her letters from the year 1936 through 1949, and it's the editor that worked with her, Richard Harwell. And I was just like,
awesome.
Wow.
One, it's the I want to say this is probably the 1976. So this is the first edition from when they had originally published, when he decided to publish all the letters. And I'm like, yeah, now it's going to be more back. It's going to be more like for me. Do you mind if we take a minute for a hot topic for half a second? Half a second before that's already gone. Because I know we have a lot to cover tonight. So if anybody knows, recently we've had a lot of publishing companies going out, taking books, and changing them to be more of the current, language or whatever. And for me, one, I like banned books. I like banned things. And I wanted my stuff on my Gone with the Wind because from what I know from her biographies and everything, that she wrote, even though it's a fictional story, it was based off of the real life events of Civil War, and it was based off of true things that she had been told. So I'm like, I just want all this research. So now I have this, the more first edition stuff I can get my hands on, or second edition, is what I'm going to want. I'm no longer really going to want any of this brand new, like the James Bond series I heard was going to be redone. And not the movies, I mean the books. She's gonna hurt them. Anyways,
Kim's growling already.
There's other ones, and I don't want to get too much on. Again, I think Scott and Kim have already talked. We might do a banned books episode another time. But and we could talk about this one further, even though that's going later on the line. Maybe we could see by then how things have panned out. So now all of a sudden, I just want all those, additional stuff to back up my information. And I won't go too much more into it, just because it is a real hot topic and a real deep diver. That's not very entertaining and not a lot of fun. It is, but it isn't. So it's more like what Kim was doing. Like,
See, that's why for me, partially, when they really started going after like older TV shows, I automatically jumped on eBay or Amazon. Like I bought Mork and Mindy complete series again, The Greatest American Hero complete series again. I do need to get the Dukes of Hazzard complete series on DVD, because right now I know some of these are available on streaming, but eventually they're gonna yank them all off.
Yes, they are.
And especially like with the Dukes of Hazzard, because of the fact that the car is called General Lee and it does have the Confederate flag on it.
Yeah.
Which, like, okay, if you've never seen the show, you would also understand that it's a very family wholesome show.
Yeah, it is.
And they never were racist to anybody.
No, they weren't.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the other problem, is that people don't watch it. They just base it off of an image.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
and
again, I know that this is like very deep dive, and I know once upon a time, like Roald Dahl, like re-edited some of his books, but he, the author himself, chose to do that.
Yeah.
And if an author is no longer with us, I don't know if I feel like they should have the rights to do that.
Well, I know.
Sorry, not sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry about it, because I'm like, I just don't know. I just don't feel like maybe, because we, the viewers or the readers, okay, if you're a reader, or the listener, if you're listening through, via audio, you can choose whether you like a book or not. You can choose whether you're going to want to read a book or not. And a book shouldn't have to change for you. If you don't like it, read something else, because there are so many other beautiful, wonderful books that will fit every person. Like, I think that it should be left to the person. You don't like it, move on.
Right.
Stop burning and banning the books just because you can't handle it. Go on, because I don't want history gone because somebody couldn't handle it.
Right. I do know, because I actually when I saw the James Bond thing, I thought, now when do I show Kim this?
Oh man.
Because she's a huge James Bond fan. And while I was reading it, I understood that before Mr. Fleming did pass away, he actually gave his foundation the rights to adjust his work later in life, later on, if ever need be.
Oh. Oh, Kim, I'm just dying. You're killing me, Kim.
Oh yeah, these are hot button topics for her.
Yeah. So, and again, this is for a whole nother show, but I just wanted to bring it up because I happened to bring up a book that is based at the author. Well, it's her letters, and that wrote Gone with the Wind. And I know that is currently, and I'm like, don't you touch that. Y'all already went against what she said before she passed away. She didn't want anybody else to do sequels or write about her books.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, again, if, like I said, I mean, I know with Ian Fleming, when I read the story, it did say that he did get permission. So at that point there, that's up to the foundation, the
Right.
the people that run his foundation or whatever that has the control of his works. But yeah,
still,
I mean,
the
if they're
question
doing
is,
it,
do you still do it? Because
right,
somebody couldn't handle it. Or because
right.
somebody couldn't say, okay, this book is not for me. Let me move on. Hey, Scott. Science
Hey, Andrew.
Mary. Scott, it's Andrew.
It is Andrew.
I know. I get so excited. I love when I see all new people coming in, especially Andrew.
Yep.
He's from Science Fictionary.
But,
check him out.
Let's go ahead and get off because this is a hot button.
Yes,
topic.
because that is definitely a show for another day.
Yeah,
totally.
I definitely think even if we did it, we could do it for if we did it for Patreon, or even not Patreon, if we did it even on a regular episode, we could reach out to a bunch of people and get them out, get them on the show to talk about it. And there's DJ.
We're talking about banned books and the whole new thing that's happening recently for the second, because we're about to move on to the next thing.
Right. Anyways, it's time for the main topic.
Yes, it is. Did you read what Kenny put?
Yes, he did.
It is one of the original journalists in an accident during transport today. Yeah, I read it.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't read it aloud until just now, but I did read it.
Okay.
And I'm trying to make sure I don't cry.
Yeah, I know.
I would love to own one of them cars.
I know.
But anyways.
On to the main topic of talking about Dolly and her 2 movies.
Oh my gosh. Well, again, thank you. I am so excited because one, you guys really listened to my idea and went, yeah. And I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, wait, can we go further? And then even today in the last minute, what do you think about this? And I just kept expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding what we're going to cover tonight. So I'm so excited because we are beginning our series on Dolly, as Scott and Kim began with, and we're going to be talking about 2 biography movies about Dolly tonight. Just like Elvis, who has had a bunch of movies done about him, so hasn't Dolly. But the difference is Dolly has had an input on her movies. And this one in particular, she was a producer. And that we're going to first talk about is Dolly's Parton's Coat of Many Colors. It came out December 10th, 2015. It begins in 1955, Sevierville, Tennessee. But
hold it, 1955.
Yeah,
55. Is that what you
Just
wanted?
a red letter date.
Yeah.
Okay, because there is a song.
November 5th, 1955.
Yep.
Don't confuse the people.
I'm not, but the fact that this movie takes place in 1955 is like talking about a crossover.
DJ.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay.
DJ's throwing the stones now.
DJ?
Uh-oh.
We might have to have conversations. Okay, well, DJ, feel free to come back another day. Check out some of the other episodes, including the ones about Dolly later, because there's going to be some that might really change your heart. Anyways, so although the movie starts in 1955, I grew up loving this one particular book that Dolly herself had wrote called Dolly, My Life and Other Finished Business. Okay. And I, with in agreement, those are fighting words. We're not to start to change this to the movie Rocky. Friends, this is why when you're not, if you're listening to this on Audible later, this is why you join the chat on YouTube Tuesday nights, currently at 7 p.m. Central Time. Anyway, so this book came out in 1994, and I'm going to go ahead and real quick. 1994. So I'm going to real quick read a first few lines of this, and then we're going to start in on the fun of the Coat of Many Colors. January 1946, the coldest day of the year. A biting wind blows the snow sideways through the remote hills of East Tennessee. The snow sticks to the sides of the trees and to the weathered walls of the hills. Little more than a shack and blows up through the cracks in the floor, making long white rows like designs on an icy Chanel bedspread. By the hearth, a worried young man strokes a fire, trying to raise the temperature in his hopes. His wife, a mere girl, lies in a crude bed, sweating in spite of the cold. Even though this is not her first childbirth, it is a difficult one. The doctor has been sent for. Some distances away, a little horse chooses his step carefully as he makes his way along a mountain ridge in the blinding snow. It's as if he knows his passenger is important. One wrong step, one icy rock, one animal burrow hidden by the snow, and the little horse might stumble. The doctor might be thrown. The baby and even the young mother might not make it. The horse steps through. The doctor arrives. Mother and baby come through. All right. The girl in the bed was Abby Lee Parton. The young man was Robert Lee Parton. The child born that day was Dolly Rebecca Parton. I have always believed that God guided the little horse's steps that day, just as he continued to guide every step I take. So that is how we are going to begin tonight, our Coat of Many Colors movie conversation, part 1 of, well, 2, because we're going to have the second movie too. And again, going back, this movie brings us back to 1955, and now Dolly Parton is 8 years old. We get to meet the variety of cast, and tonight we're going to change things up. We're going to be talking about the different themes of A Coat of Many Colors, and as we talk about them, we're also going to be talking about the characters of Coat of Many Colors. This is all based on the true story and life of Dolly Parton. So even when I was doing research, everything is true. Everything was true. And although I did notice one thing, I take that back. They switched the teacher was changed slightly, but it was still true. So that being said, I'm so excited because we are about to jump in.
Which is amazing nowadays, because most of the time things are true to a point and then it's elaborated for Hollywood.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was curious when this movie first came out, when we heard about one, I knew I was going to watch it. It was a done deal. I knew my whole family would be watching it. I was curious as to, from the book, what would end up being in the movie.
Right.
Because I was just like, wow, could something happen with the animals? Would she do this? Would she do that? And they really did adapt it her life very well into these 2 movies. So yeah.
Right. I mean, I like how, especially with the first one, or actually with both of them, where it is a generalized focus area. It's not, oh, we're gonna start here and then we're gonna cram a whole career into into this or into 2 movies. Correct. I love how it sticks to just one pretty much 1955. It sticks to that area, which I like that.
Right. So this is like 55, 56, right. Maybe even 57 a little bit. What I love about what we're going to talk about tonight with everybody, not only is the themes that are inside of the movies, of these 2 movies, Coat of Many Colors and Circle of Love, but also not only the characters and the depths that they bring, but also her humble beginnings. These are her roots. Yeah. And before we can get to here, we've got to get to the roots, because anybody who's listened to Dolly, read her books, saw any of her interviews, as you said, Kim, earlier, she always goes back home. Anything I've ever seen, she always goes back to her roots, to Seaverville, Tennessee. She always talks about, the Smoky Mountains. She always goes home. She's always talking about her family. And I think that is just amazing. And then to understand that, you're going to understand Dolly and her music so much more. And it's just wonderful. And
the other thing too is, because I was the same curious, I was going, how much of this did Hollywood actually screw up and how much actually kept to the movie? And I was really surprised that it actually is accurate. And the other thing, and I'll probably bring this up a little bit later, but the other interesting thing that I thought that was brought up, and this is after I watched the 2 movies and the interviews that she gave about him,
Mhm.
they said that her and her producer went through a lot of little girls, but when she saw that little girl's tape
Yep.
interview, it brought her to tears, and she knew that's the little girl to play her.
And the little girl she Kim is talking about, her name is Ella Allen Lind. And she's amazing. She's amazing in both movies.
Mhm.
Like, and she captures her essence so well. Scott, would you like to throw up the first photo? And maybe we could talk a little bit about the Partons here in the cast.
Yeah, give me a second, because the way this thing works is not going to work very well for us, but I'm going to make it work.
Oh, no. I'm like, I could throw it up on my cell phone, but it's just not going to look as good.
You want the whole family picture or
the first one?
First one.
I sent you to you in order.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, because I did them with the movie.
There we go.
Okay, so the first one here we have is young Dolly, again, is Allen Lind. Then playing Avi Lee Parton is Jennifer Nettles. And then playing Robert Lee Parton is Ricky Schroeder. Oh my God. They nailed these parts.
Real quick, Jennifer Nettles, Sugarland, right?
Yes, she's one half of the duet of Sugarland.
Just making sure.
Yep.
Okay, you gotta realize I know her better as doing a duet with Bon Jovi instead.
Yeah.
You know, House for Sale or what it was.
Yeah.
I know that better than I do Sugarland. So, you know, I did not really listen. I'm not listening to today's country very much.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so yes, and they did an amazing job here in this movie and in the next movie. Okay. For the most part, the cast does not change between here and the next one. So if you want to show that second family photo, I think it has more of the siblings, and I can go kind of a little bit through some of the characters' names and get everyone introduced, because again, we're going to be talking about the characters and the themes, because if you have not seen this is a movie I highly recommend. Okay, so here again you have you can see little young Dolly, and you can see Abby Lee and Robert Lee, but who you can also see here is Reverend Jake Owens, also known as Dolly's grandpa, Abby Lee's father. In the red, that is actually in real life, that is Stella Parton grown up playing she played Corla Bess in this movie and in the second movie. So Dolly's real life sister is in this movie, and she's also the town gossip. And then next to her is the character Miss Moody, played by Mary Lou Haskell. Oh my gosh. And again, they did a fantastic job.
Now,
go ahead.
I know this is kind of out of context of this, but, you know, kind of a sidebar thing. When I was doing just a little bit of research myself and looking at all of her siblings, her last sister, Rachel, actually played in the 9 to 5 sitcom as Dorothy Rhodes.
Yeah. Yep.
Which I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, I remember the sitcom also. I mean, I love the movie. I remember seeing the sitcom back in the day, and I was like, wow, I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when I learned, I'm like, wow. And then, of course, I'll bring up the other sidebar about Randy later.
All right. And do you have the other picture with the kids on the cabin?
Yeah, I actually click on
the cabin one.
I don't like the way the scene works. I really don't. You gotta figure out something different. Well, StreamYard, you gotta work on it.
Yes, you do.
All right.
No, that's keep going.
Oh, there. That's
right there.
Now I see why. There we go. There's that one. Because then it brings it up that way. And then I gotta come over here and add. There.
All right, so here we go. Finishing off the cast, we got the. I'm going to go from my left. That's Willa Dean Parton, is played by Carson Myers. Next to her is the young Stella Parton, played by Farrah McKenzie. Then we have Denver Parton, played by Dylan Rowan. Then we have David Parton, played by Parker. I think I misplaced his last name wrong. And then last but not least, Bobby Parton, who is played by Blake Crockwell. Now, again, this is only part of the Parton family. This family expands into a family of 12, technically 11, as we will be discussing in one of the themes.
Right.
So.
And real quick, Isaac said he went to Dolly Parton Stampede dinner show last summer.
I went several times growing up, and I know we will be discussing Isaac in another show about Dixieland Stampede. Sorry, Dolly Parton Stampede now, and Dollywood another time. Because if not, again, that is a whole nother topic. That's why we had to do a series.
Right.
Yes.
we'll never stay on track.
No.
And we could easily do an 8-hour show.
Yeah, we could.
So about anything, what did you guys love about this cast? Before we really start getting into the themes, what did you guys have anything you liked about this cast?
Oh, the little girl that plays the young Dolly. Oh my gosh. Her. I mean, of course, I'm not from Tennessee, so I don't know if the accent is spot on for over there or not, but it sounds spot on to me. And I mean, some of the quick comebacks that, I mean, obviously they're written, but some of that stuff, it's just like, whoa, she said that.
Yes, the accent is spot on for Tennessee.
Okay.
And
as far as the cast, I love them all.
And her quips are pretty right on. I mean, Dolly, even in the book, I mean, I'm sure if my dad's still in the chat, he can tell you. When I would read that book, even as a kid, I would laugh so hard because Dolly was so funny. She was very witty. She was very intelligent, very clever with her words. And I'm just like, that's how I felt when I was watching, this movie for the first time, and still do, and she's just hilarious.
Speaking of her wit, and I'll sidebar into this, probably about an hour or two ago on YouTube, I found a deal where it was Dolly, her mom and dad, and I think Randy and Stella were there, where they got on stage with her at some variety hour or something that she was doing, where she talked to dad to get up and dance. And she was dancing with him. And eventually she went and sat down and was like, I can't keep up with you, old man. But yeah, no, she's always been very witty and with the quips and stuff, because you can see it in most of her interviews too.
Yes.
And obviously, I mean, I always wonder how much of even in her shows or her movie, when she's been an actress, and obviously we'll do this when we do touch on her acting career, how much of that was really the real Dolly, maybe the lines were, written, but how much was that really, that was the real Dolly coming out, the real Dolly, that everybody sees day in, day out anyways.
Yeah, that's a good question. I also, Farrah McKenzie, who played Stella, I loved her. I can still hear her. You sour pickle. I'm just like, oh my God. See you in heaven, Dolly. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I was laughing when I first saw this movie. I was laughing even after the movie. Because it's just so funny. Yes, they talk about they get into a real, deep topic, but the characters are just so well done. And I just, even the brothers, the sisters, Willadine just seems so responsible. And I just, and again, I feel like, we always say we want to be a fly on the wall, right? And I feel like that is exactly what these two movies did. They made us feel like we were a fly on the wall, watching the Parton family, watch them go through some really tough stuff and make it through.
Right.
And this is before Dolly gets her music career.
Exactly. And just to bring this one back up real quick, when I look at her, I mean, I can see Dolly Parton in her. I mean, she really looks like a younger version of Dolly.
Well, and not just that, but you can look that they really went for making sure the family dynamic looked the way it's supposed to.
Right. And yeah, they nailed it. I mean, and honestly, I felt like the kids were all, they're all actors, but you felt like they were actually really siblings.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
You had that back and forth, and you're just like, wow. I mean, I only grew up, it was just me and my sister. But even some of I'm like, yep. I remember some of that.
And family is one of the main themes in both the movies, and we'll talk
Yes.
about it separately in the other one too. In this particular case, though, the Partons deal head on with it's not a spoiler because it's actually in her books too, which I'm going to actually talk about. We're going to kind of go into next, and that is the loss of a child, the loss of a family member. They had in the movie, we get to see what they went through as a family, losing what Dolly called her baby. Because again, it was a bigger family, so the mom, the younger ones would help and stuff.
Right.
And I want to stop and take a moment to talk about that. And that is the fact that they did lose baby Larry. Again, I said there's 12 siblings. Technically, at this point, there's only 8. And she always says there's always 12.
Right.
Yeah.
Even if there was always 11. She's always acknowledged Larry. And I think that was very important for us to talk about today. The loss that we saw. And again, that is also something also in her book also she talks about. But the fact that they showed us that was really something. And we got to see grief. We got to see how they handled how they got through it, the depression, the sadness, and oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you see it from. I mean, you're seeing it from everybody's point of view. You got the father's point of view. You got the mother, really going through depression. And of course, Dolly. I mean, at one point, she's literally, she's literally, to use it, cursing out God. I mean, and I know the feeling because, I mean, even though she wasn't my daughter, but when her sister passed away, I did the same thing. I'm like, how dare you? And I went off. I mean, and I know Hannah's in the chat. I had her and her brother both on the phone with me, and they heard me, and gosh, it was like, and to see that from, not only from Dolly's point of view, going, wow, okay, I was an adult when I did that here, and I can just imagine being raised. I mean, because I was raised into Christian, the love God and whatnot, but it wasn't like we didn't go to church every Sunday. And for me to even, recognize that, but also I've been through, now it's not quite the same where, he held their baby, he held Larry to take that, and while he took that last breath, while a stillborn is a little bit different subject or way, it's still losing a child. And I went through that with Kim's sister in 99 when we lost our daughter, and yeah, we both, me and her both struggled, and we had nobody to fall back on because it was just me and her.
Right.
We were, I mean, she had a little bit more family around because we were in Utah at the time. I was by myself because all my family was in Nevada. And if we butted heads or were arguing and we couldn't talk to each other, I had nobody to return to go to, and of course, I mean, and yeah, then of course I can relate with the mom because of the fact that, you're going down a deep depression, wondering what, I mean, regardless of who it is, regardless of if you're the father, the mother, or even, siblings, you're wondering what could you have done differently? What could you have done to stop it? What could you have done, so this didn't happen?
Yeah. And they also went from that perspective of Willa Dean.
Yes.
They did show, and her going to her dad, no, Mama's not getting up. No, Dolly has not sung since this day,
Right.
And to see it from her perspective, I love the director, how the director, by the way, is Stephen Herc, and he also directed the next one as well. And I like the fact that they went through those different perspectives and they didn't just fully leave it on Dolly.
Right.
I love the fact that they gave us other perspectives. Kim, what did you think about that? I'm hearing Scott and he's totally connected. And I'm just like, wait, I know that Kim's got something up in there. I can kind of see the wheels turning.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. It was I guess in a way it pulled at the heartstrings. I, like I said, I never had
easy.
Hmm.
Let me pull the camera down for a minute.
Okay.
Me and Kim will be right back.
Well, I'm just going to take over here a quick moment while we kind of gather our thoughts and stuff. And again, thank you to everybody who is tuning in tonight. Again, this is our first episode of the series that we're going to talk about with Dolly. Of course, we're doing Dolly today, but we'll be about a month or so before we go into episode 2. And again, tonight, right now, we're still talking about Coat of Many Colors. And we're kind of diving into a deep topic right now that is actually a really deep topic inside the actual movie Coat of Many Colors. That's a true story. And that is the fact that they lost baby Larry, which is Larry Parton, Dolly's little baby brother. He only lived for a few days. But that was a big impact, and that is what we're currently discussing here. And DB, oh, thank you. I love your beautiful heart. For those who's not reading this right now, he's saying that's a rough subject. Sorry, Kim, love ya. And yes, I agreed, DB. This is a really tough subject. I know even when we were I had thrown it to him, like, well, we're going to talk about themes, and this is one of them. And I thought, what a good time, though, to talk about it together in a place that's safe and full of love. Because I think that's what makes Dolly really Dolly, who she helps to create her character in real life, not just in this movie. We get to know her. And that makes her, more relatable. Relatable in the sense that we got to really see not only her and her family, but we got to relate to them. And again, it's just something in this movie. And I smile, but I'm not, because trust me, I think that when you lose a child, that's really hard. And this is more of a nervous laugh because it is really hard conversation, but one we need to talk about because it's in the movie, and also based on, again, on Dolly Parton's real life. Grief is real. And every day, I think each person handles it in a different way. Grief kind of comes and goes. And again, anytime you watch any of Dolly's interviews or read her books and stuff, again, she goes back to her roots. She goes back to Tennessee. She always takes it as a family of 12. So, yes. And you can tell Kim, she's getting a lot of love.
Yeah.
A lot of love.
I actually read it to her. I read them to her before I came back on. She's going to take a few moments just to.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Man.
And I think we're in a safe space here to have that conversation. And of course we can always take a moment away from that as well. And we can always move on to the next part also if she feels more comfortable, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think she'll be upset by it. So where she was kind of going to a point is, obviously she's the eldest sibling. She's always wanted to, be a mother. And unfortunately, I mean, she didn't get married. I mean, her first boyfriend was me in a way. And we've only been together, we've been married for 8 years and together just a little before or right after her sister passed away. And obviously we could have an episode about how everything kind of got put together, but so she's never had the opportunity to be, I guess, that terminology, you're always an aunt. And that's, I know that's where she was going, she was trying to talk about, the fact, she, her sister, got pregnant, and then we lost we lost her. And then, she's seen both her brothers have 7 kids total, not each total, but
right.
The other one's got 5, and so it's one of those things where I know she wants to have a kid, and yeah, it's just unfortunate. People, because I mean, she's been a big girl her whole life, so you know, she's been one of those ones where, yeah, nobody would give her time of day pretty much, you know, and yeah, so that's kind of where that all came about. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I read everybody, you know, and want to thank DB.
I know. I love our chat.
Yeah.
And again, for those who are not in our chat right now, they're just being so sweet and loving.
Right.
And kind.
They are. I mean, I'll read them so our audio people. And again, this is why you tune in Tuesday nights live, so you can say it right in the chat. But DB says that's a rough subject. Sorry, Kim, love you. And Ubaldo hugs and love for Kim. And of course, Ubaldo also said, Kim, take all the time you need.
But I think this is also a moment where I feel like maybe Kim understands Dolly in another way that you or I can't, because Dolly was never a mom.
Right.
She was also known as Aunt Granny.
Right.
They called her Aunt Granny.
And
she took care of everyone else's kids.
And I actually mentioned that to Kim. I didn't mention it like, oh, well, look, you know, she's not that. I'm like, you know, look at the fact, you know, I wonder if Larry, seeing what her mama went through, also was kind of the reason why Dolly maybe never had, you know, I don't know. I mean,
I'm not sure.
Right.
I think that is something though that will forever remain private, very very private. But
you know, and
although she's been very about, well, I have taken care of plenty of of kids. You know, she's taken care of some of her own siblings and brought them into her home when she was newly married, and you know, and I think that's huge. You know, she's still, again, you can see it through the years. And we'll touch on this a little bit at the tip end, and we'll definitely get into it when we talk about some of the other episodes. And that is that, again, families continues to be very important in her life, not just in the movies, but also later.
Oh, gosh. My brain just went wrong right at that moment.
And Hannah says, lots and lots of love.
Yeah.
And DB, all the time you need, we are here.
Exactly. But, you know, when you just said the tip,
we're not going back to Saturday, Scott.
Well, it's either Saturday
we got family in this chat tonight.
It's either Saturday or we're going to the escape pod tomorrow night.
Oh, Lord.
Lord almighty. Feel my temperature rise.
It's feel my temperature rising.
Higher and higher. Oh, Lord.
Okay. So, that being said, maybe we'll just move on, and that's okay, because you know what? Here it's okay we've acknowledged what's there. We've acknowledged, and we know it's hard. We know grief sucks, y'all. Okay. And you know, here at Use News, of course, we just want to love on each other and be there for each other and think about Saturday all over again, as you all just said. All night long.
All right, we'll be right back. I'll be right back with Nightbot. Get out there, Nightbot. Nightbot. All right, be right back.
All right. Well, as soon as Scott and Kim return, we're going to go and move on with our show a little bit. And we're going to be starting to talk about the friendship themes that are here in the first movie, Coat of Many Colors. Again, because we know that even though we know this was a subject, you know, it was partially sensitive subject, not partly. It is. Okay. And again, but we wanted to acknowledge this is part of the movie. It's part of life. And it's very important. But I really do appreciate every single person in this chat right now. Your guys' love, I can feel it, and I can feel it for Kim. I know when she goes back to read all this, she's gonna feel that rush of love. And I as her co-host and nerd sister, I really do appreciate that. And again, if you're listening, like Scott was saying, on Spotify or wherever you're listening to, join us on Tuesday nights, because then we'll be able to talk about this. So, all right. So we have Scott and Kim back. Woohoo! So I was just going to go ahead and move along to Friends, to the theme of Friends, if that's okay with you, Kim.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. But you have got a lot of love in the chat, and I know it's just going to melt your heart. So, yeah. You can blame the chat if they give you tears of joy. But we love our chat because they're so amazing. They're so amazing.
Exactly.
They are.
So real quick, one thing that they don't show us is actually initially how Dolly meets her best friend, who ends up being her best friend for like life, and her name is Judy Ogle. Judy is played by the actress Hannah Nordberg. In the book that in Dolly's book, My Life and Other Finished Business, you can discover that they actually met at a pie supper. In this particular case, we meet Judy when they're talking about the Sandersons. They're talking about the paints. That really did happen to Dolly. She took some paints.
Borrowed them. She borrowed them. She returned them.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Judy caught her.
Yep. Judy got her.
She was caught out. But this movie really does have a theme of friendship. Not only do we get to see her go through this beginning of how, of Judy. Okay. Although this is slightly past when she probably originally met Judy in real life. We also get to see how she handles the situation with the Sandersons. What did you guys think of the friendships that were in the movie, The Coat of Many Colors?
I actually liked it. I really did, because it kind of reminded me of my best friend and I. We grew up together, and we're still best friends to this day. So it was like the same thing that it was for my best friend and I loved it.
the thing I love, and I'm going to sidebar on this one real quick, because I know Kim and her best friend. And the funny part is they go months without calling or texting each other. And then one will initiate the call, and then all of a sudden, then they're talking to each other like once a week, and then now we're once every 2 weeks, then it's back to once every month, and then once every 3 months, it's back to once every 6. And like, really?
Well,
Life.
Yeah.
That's true. Life does get in the way.
Yeah, but yes, I really loved Judy and Dolly's chemistry. Especially when they
yes, I agree. The chemistry of the actresses who played their besties did great together. I mean, it's like it's almost like you probably wonder, was this how it really was for them?
Right.
Yep.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you can definitely feel the friendship, not only between them, but even, as Dolly learns from her mom about the spread of love, and then she uses that towards the Sandersons.
Yeah.
And how it kind of changes their perspective on things and brings them kind of into a friendship a little bit with them too.
Yeah.
Probably more of a love-hate relationship, but
Well, yeah, but the thing is after her mom, in that part of the movie, after her mom explained that love is the strongest thing that you can experience, she actually, as we call it, put forward the olive branch and wanted to, instead of having her brothers and them fight, she stepped in and says, no, let's not fight. And then
the Sandersons.
Yeah. And then she actually started asking them, why are you fighting? And they actually started opening up. And at that time is when you find out their mom had actually passed away. And then she says, well, why don't you come to the church and enjoy the service? And then there's a luncheon afterwards. I mean, she was extending that friendship to them. Yeah, the olive branch of friendship. So that way she was going, okay, this doesn't have to be what it is.
Right. And I think that's wonderful that we can see that is how we can deal with things.
Yeah.
And you can tell that means both families were dealing with grief.
Yep.
Right.
And they were all still coming out of that fog, coming out of that darkness, and coming together. Although, well, we'll talk about the Sandersons a little bit more in the next movie too.
We will.
But I do like how they worked that. I wonder if maybe if that get together was kind of almost the same thing as how her and Judy originally met in real life, which is at the pie supper. I kind of wonder if that's how they decided to depict that a little bit.
Be.
Yeah.
that could be. I mean, it's a good way to kind of intermingle a couple of things. And I mean, yeah, I mean, they kind of have them, her and Judy be friends before that get together. But the fact that you have that get together, it could be just a way to intermingle everything kind of together. I mean, again, you're talking. I mean, in this, I mean, we keep saying movie. It's actually a TV movie, so you're talking real time crunch. If it was made into a theatrical movie, you could probably get away with 2.5 to almost 3 hours, without getting in too much trouble, for people to go. But when you're talking TV movie, most networks are going to give you a 2 hour block. So that means you got to have about an hour to an hour and a half of a show, because they got to have all their commercial breaks in there.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job again with these movies, considering the time crunches.
Right.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So the friendships were amazing to see how they changed and grew. I also believe food is very important and helped to bring everyone together. Because even if you remember earlier in the movie, they had gotten the hornworms, and Judy comes and you're eating them. Stellar, yep, you're eating them.
Yeah.
I have a thing for hornworms.
Yeah, and of course that came off of the heels of that day where Dolly went to do her report. Her mom had taken the baby blankets, the rags, and created the coat of her coat of many colors. And she'd gotten the kids laughed at her. They had laughed at her and, made fun of her, even though her mama based it off of something more important. And of course, also off of her faith as well. Joseph Amazing Technicolor. I mean, Joseph and his coat of many colors. I almost went off the Broadway one on that one. But then to see Judy stand by her and just go, I'm here, or just even see the moments beforehand, Judy was there and she wasn't even Dolly didn't fully realize that she was there. She brought the chunky, which, by the way, really cool that a kid can do that at that age back then.
Yeah.
And did various things, brought flowers, to baby Larry's, resting spot. And again, I love the friendship theme in this movie.
Yes, definitely.
Wonderful.
I agree. I mean, everything was mingled perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, it really felt like we've all been there. We've all been there when we might meet that person for the first time, and then, oh wow, then you think about later in life, as you're an adult, like, whoa, that person's my best, my BFF, or or that's my best friend. And you think back to those times, and then and then when you see movies like this, it's like a good reminder of what it was like to really make friends, new friends.
Yep.
I have to this one funny line though from Stella. Again, I loved little Stella. She cracked up just as much as Dolly did. And this is right before we see this friendship finally blossom between Judy and Dolly, finally. Okay. Because again, it takes time. And this is before she gives her, she didn't even get a chance to read her report. They'd already, taken her part. And she goes, this is right beforehand. Stella comes into school and she just called her a sour pickle. And she's like, I don't have anybody to play with, just Judy. And that's just like playing with her own shadow. Hello. And then Dolly says something to her, and then she's like, fine, you sour pickle. And I'm like, I love the innocent, like, comebacks and things. It's not, that's not filled with, there are a few words of choice words, but other than that, it's it's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like, and like early on, when she went to go see him in church, and she got all dolled up, and
oh my gosh. Oh, I got that one right here. Hold on. I'm sure I am, but do I have to look like hell to get there?
Yeah, right. And
young Dolly with all the makeup, and she going into church, and it's her grandpa's church.
Yeah, he's the pastor. Preacher.
Yeah, preacher.
But then
Yeah.
the funny line between Robert Parton and Abby Lee, again played by Ricky Schroeder and Jennifer Nettles, and he goes, "Daddy says you may have brown hair, but you've got a red-headed temper."
Yeah.
That was, oh man, that was just, again, great casting. Great casting.
And Yabalda brings it up too. They felt like he grew up with them, and I agree.
Yes.
It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, wow. I mean,
Fly on the wall.
just watching this, you're just like fly on the wall. But it's like, wow. Okay. What's 1955? I was born in 71, but now I feel like I was part of it.
Yeah. And another interesting fact, since we're in the point of the movie with the coat that her mom made her, the actual real coat.
Wrong.
Let her finish. Let her finish, because I have a feeling I know what she's going to talk about, and it could be right, because I have a feeling what she's going to say. Go ahead.
Anyway, in the article that I read, I don't know how accurate it is, but they said that the coat is actually on display.
Okay.
And the color, the producer actually switched the colors, but it was similar to the coat that she grew up with.
There are two things. Yes, you are correct on the movie coat, but the real life coat was no longer, because the mom, because they were so poor, they reused rags, reused them, and either into clothing or into other things, or so eventually the coat did, once she actually physically outgrew it, it actually get made into something else. And that is in the book and other things. But you are still correct, because the one made for the movie was saved.
Yeah.
But I'm sure her mom in hindsight went, "Oh man, if I knew you were going to make a movie about all this, or a song about this," which we will talk about very briefly here in a few minutes. I'm sure they would have thought about that. So and speaking of her mom, let's move on to the theme of faith. Okay.
Oh my.
Because Dolly's faith and her family's faith is a huge connection, not only in the movie, in her real life book, her real life. It's also what's going to connect us also to the next movie. We have that moment, from the beginning, where the mom's a believer, the dad's, he is, but he won't go in. And oh wow, just to see that faith build and grow and blossom, and to see them also lose it, not fully lose it, but lose their path. And who else has lost it sometimes? It happens because you get angry.
Yeah.
And we don't understand.
Yeah. And I like the way that they portrayed the dad's growth from where he was to the end of both movies.
Right. Because
the growth was amazing.
Because by the end of the movie, the other thing that they were facing was that they dealt with the hornworms, but now they were dealing with the drought. No rain. And what do?
Yep.
You're in the mountains of the Tennessee. You're in the 1950s. We're not in modern day, where things are different. But let me tell you something, people. It's the mountains. Things are different. Life is different.
Yeah.
But to see their faith and how it grows and changes, and how they kind of just like us, it humanizes them.
Yep.
But in the reality is that was how they really were. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy good.
It is crazy good.
Yep.
Crazy good.
But yes, I mean, and again, we'll just reiterate, the up and down with the faith. I mean, that's everybody. I mean, everybody goes through it. Everybody has their different reasons why you have them, but a lot of time it is from grief.
Grief, unanswered prayer, or change of prayer, or you don't see what else is coming.
Right.
So you're so dealing with this that you can't see what's behind.
Right.
And that's hard.
It is.
but it's that faith that kind of gets you there. And I love how they build up to it. Yes, Dad, we talked about that. We did talk about that, Dad. I did mention that it is on display. We can confirm.
But yes.
I'm just going to say that
Yes.
this probably was a distraction. I'm sure he was distracted by one of two dogs, maybe.
Which are pretty much which I mean, I'm sorry, dogs and cats are pretty much kids anyways.
They are.
Yes. Well, they've got two. They got the mama. So my daughter has a boxer named Bailey. Well, they've got the mama named Harley. And then they have a newer puppy. His name is Shadow. He's literally my dad's Shadow these days. And he's a little miniature Sheltie.
Oh.
But he's like more not really like miniature. He's like 20 pounds. I'm like, no. My Chai was a lot smaller than he is, but he's adorable. A little furball. Fuzzball.
Awesome.
I call him a fuzzball because I'm like, oh no, his
Laugh
real
it up, Fuzzball.
middle name should be Chewy.
Yep. I like what you Baldo said. Yes, trying to find answers.
Yep.
And that's what they were doing through the whole show, trying to find answers.
Yep, that, and even through to the part of when with the rain, there was a quote that he says, "Oh, I got to go to town and buy faith."
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, well, that was after he he pretty much went off on the wife about her belief and whatnot, and then the old daughter was kind of like, yeah, boy, she just put you your eldest daughter just put you in your place.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she did.
And then he made that comment, I gotta go into town by faith.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I mean that town visit. Whew,
Oh, I know.
it was
I know,
fun.
and we get to see Stella a little bit more, and
Yeah,
Stella Parton, the real Stella Parton, playing
right. I mean, when they were doing that nice little gossip back there, I was like, oh, yep, And when he went off, I was like, yep, I am right with you, sir.
You're like, yeah.
Except for mine was been a little bit more colorful language.
But
But yeah, no, I could completely relate to him because, like, yeah.
All right. Well, how about we wrap this up with talking about the song "Coat of Many Colors"?
Yes.
Actually, no.
Wait, is this
Real
one?
quick, before we fully move on to that, do you guys have any other favorite moments from this movie?
Go ahead, Kim.
Mhm. I just like the whole movie. I mean, there's no one favorite moment that I could pin down. I mean, the movie was awesome. So
My favorite moment of the movie was when the teacher showed up to drop off books for the eldest daughter.
yeah.
And she wanted to know if she could see Dolly or, pretty much Dolly being sick. And the mom's like, no, she's not sick. She's not home. And then they found out, and Dad goes down, pretty much Dolly and Judy downtown at the shop. Dolly's putting on lipstick, getting a scarf, putting it around Judy, putting a little lipstick. While she's putting the lipstick on Judy, Judy notices, oh, there's your father.
And goes,
Yeah, and I was trying to get her attention. And finally, Dolly looks back. I'm dead.
yeah.
And they go back. They go back to the house, and
Well, that
Mom rips her out of the vehicle first, and then Dolly goes off on Mom.
yeah.
It's all about the coat, because she got laughed at and all that stuff.
But then the moment in the woodshed too.
That's what I was getting to, is the moment in the woodshed. Dad's ready to whoop her.
Yeah.
And
that's
he has a heart to heart with her.
Yeah.
And he
And-
explains to her that the person that holds this family together is your mother, and her love
yeah.
for this, for us all, and pretty much. And
Basically
so Dolly goes running in the house.
yeah. And basically the
For-
music that Dolly sings is all part of that.
Yeah.
And just the fact that she tells her mom she forgives her. And then I love the next little quip from her is, so when you gonna forgive Daddy?
Yeah.
I'm like, yep, leave it to a kid.
Boom.
Damn
I
it.
I forgot to mention with the faith one, but it's definitely another one of my favorite moments is when at the end of the movie she comes up with the guitar in the church and she's singing.
Yeah.
Come.
Yep.
Come. And and then of course her dad finally comes inside the church, which was my heart just was so happy. And then the whole group at the end and the Sandersons and everybody was there, and it just brings it all together, and it's so heartwarming. And again, I loved this movie. I highly recommend watching this movie. How many coats would you give this? 1 coat, 2 coat, 3 coat, 4 coat, 5 coat?
I'm
Yeah,
getting a 5.
this.
Yeah.
I'm getting a 5 out of 5 coats.
I am too.
This movie it's also very family friendly.
Yes.
Very good. And I think even today, with everything that's gone on in the last few years, I think we forget as a society where we came from.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't that long ago that we had a generation that came from a 1-room schoolhouse, and she came from a 1-room schoolhouse. My grandma also came from a 1-room schoolhouse, and I think we forget about that. This is 1955. I know that may seem like a long time ago for some, but that's really not that long ago that we had 1-room schoolhouses.
Right.
And we've come so far. And
my grandmother too. She also 1-room schoolhouse, and I think they had a pretty big family, and yet they didn't have, it wasn't like they had a big house for all the kids. It was very small place,
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of this, even though it wasn't, it was South Dakota, it wasn't Tennessee, it's still relatable because I've heard stories, I've heard the stories and stuff. And the thing for me, one thing I will take from this, or I really took from this, is back on the Law of Faith, is Dolly's mom and Dolly actually remind me of my grandmother.
Aww.
Because her faith was so strong that we all believed, at least up when on her last week to live, or pretty much she had a stroke, but my grandfather tried to get her, come on, we got to get you to the hospital, or, I need it. And she's like, no, I'm busy. What do you mean you're busy? She's sitting there, in the bed, eyes are closed, but she keeps telling me she's busy. We all believe in this, the whole family, is she was on a one-on-one conversation explaining to God that, no, this is when it's going to happen. I'm going to get my whole family here before I go.
Mm-hmm.
And she got all of us there, but 2 of the grandkids. My sister was there, who was pregnant with my niece at the time. And my cousin's wife was also pregnant with their first at the time. And so they've got all the family there, except for 2 of the grandchildren who just couldn't make it at the time. But within a week, we were all there, and she kept making the comment to the nurses, I'm having Easter dinner and I ain't got to cook. Well, we're a week away from Easter. None of us figured it out. And none of us figured it out until, we left on Sunday.
That gave me goosebumps.
I gave her the goodbye hug. My mom, when we got downstairs, my mom says, well, you'll see her, whenever you come back up. And I'm like, no, Mom, I just gave her the hug and I told her separately, my mom, I'm like, I gave her the goodbye hug because I think this is the last time I'm going to see her alive. And sure enough, Monday morning, I get a phone call from my father saying, are you sitting down? I'm standing on a ladder. No, I'm not sitting down, but I lied. Yes, I'm sitting down. And he's like, I got something to tell you. And he choked. I went, Grandma passed away, didn't she? And still silent. And then finally he said, yes. I'm like, okay. Let me know what day the funeral is, and we will get back up there. And so and of course I used not see, this is where Scott was a jerk. Anyway, I used my daughter as a pawn to take her with me, so I wouldn't have to really deal with the funeral arrangements, keep me busy away from dealing with a funeral. I'm chasing a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Wait, see, 93? No, 4-year-old. Almost 4-year-old. Yeah, 4-year-old. Right, nice. Yeah. And so I'm chasing a 4-year-old around. I don't have to think about what's going on until, but yeah.
Yeah, I know the women in my family, it's on my mom's side, definitely Faith. All right, Coat of Many Colors. Ready?
Yes.
The song inspired this movie, which is so amazing. It came out, she wrote it in 1969, and I'm singing it because I'm so excited. She actually, can you guys guess, without looking up, do you guys know what she wrote it on? No, not a cell phone. They didn't have cell phones in 1969.
No, I'm holding it up so you can see I'm not typing. That's the soft outline right there of tonight's show.
Oh, I didn't write in there though. I didn't write in there who I didn't
I know, but I'm just putting it right here. I'm just putting it right here so they, and the keyboard is over here.
All right. Well, can you guess what she wrote that on?
A pad and paper.
Typewriter.
No, and we'll talk about that at another moment. No, DB, that's wrong too. Although I agree with you that those our grandmas that had to live through the Depression were tough old birds. Yes, they were of a different breed. I totally agree with that. No, so she was Porter Wagner's. They were doing a tour, so they're on the touring bus, and she couldn't find paper, so she put it on the back of one of Porter Wagner's dry cleaning receipt papers, and he kept it and framed it.
Nice.
And she wrote A Coat of Many Colors. They recorded it in April 1971. It was released September 27th, 1971. Wow. However, I cannot believe this. It only went to number 4 on the Billboard.
What month did it released?
September 7th, 1970.
Yeah, September 27th, 1971 is when it released. Right.
See, told you all the best music came out in 71. I wonder why.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyways, however, I'd like to say as of 2021, it is still on Rolling Stone's 500 songs of all time. It's at 263. Although it has not won any awards, it still stands high on its own.
Well, I mean, the thing is when you're talking, especially Dolly and music, you're looking at this song here, and yeah, okay, it hasn't won the awards. Okay, well, her other big hit for her didn't win other awards either, but it eventually won an award because someone else sung it.
No, we'll talk about that another day.
I know, but I'm just saying, I mean, just because she doesn't have the hit with it, I mean, plus as far as those award shows go, I won't go into it.
Well, and
I got my. It's all about. Well, I mean.
Well, I know we're gonna have an episode just on her music.
About how you grease the palm.
Well, and also too, I think if you really, really listen to it, it's one of those songs that if you really seriously listen to what she's saying, it's something that anybody can relate to.
Yeah.
And it's one that is going to span generations because even other generations can relate to what she's saying, even though it is from her childhood. It's something that you can relate to.
Yeah, because Dolly really had a rags to riches story.
She did.
And she's very humble about it.
She is.
Right. But I mean, when you look at I hate to say it, but the Queens of Country. I mean, really, when you look at the Queens of Country, Loretta was the same way.
Yeah, she was.
Rags to riches,
Yep.
I mean, her and Dolly really,
Loretta Lynn.
And
Loretta Lynn.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got to throw that one in there.
That would be another good one to do.
Kitty Wells, Reba.
Yeah.
Here.
Even Reba, she was just a cattle girl growing up on a ranch.
Yeah.
She again, even in her book, she talked about, they didn't have a lot of money. and stuff. But those are the true,
Mhm.
success stories.
They are. They really are.
And when you hear those stories, it still gives you that hope, that there is that, I know everybody calls it the American dream, but it is the American dream.
It is. It really is.
Just not everybody's got their eye on being a superstar.
Well, yeah.
And I think, again, with her Dolly Parton's song "Coat of Many Colors," I think she brings you back to where she was. And I think in this particular movie that the song, the song became, not only did it become a movie, it also became a book. There's a children's book about it. And it just brings you back. And it's about bullying, and it's about faith, and it's about growing, and the love of a parent. And it's wonderful. So, okay. Are we ready to move on?
Yes.
I can't believe how long this title is. Dolly Parton's Christmas of Merry Colors, Circle of Love. I'm like, why didn't they just call it Circle of Love?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And
I don't know whose idea it was for this long title. But if they would have just called it Circle of Love, I would have understood.
Yeah. And also, and we'll probably bring this up once we get deeper into this one, the other interesting thing is this particular Circle of Love is actually got 2 different stories that actually happened during her childhood that they put into this one beautiful movie.
Yeah. And while it is Christmas based, we want to still talk about it, because this really, again, this movie, more than the last movie, now gets to show us the beginning of Dolly and her music. They call her Songbird, and they talk about her singing in the other movie. Yes, a little bit. But we get to really see the wheels in motion in this movie. And that's what I loved.
My turn to come clean for a minute. Okay, so we had to wait a bit. I tried the thing that you sent me over the weekend, but for some reason my phone kept blocking it, saying it was dangerous and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, this sucks. So we ended up buying the digital copy off Apple today. So I had a few things that I had to take care of after watching the first one. So I will admit right now, I have not seen the second one yet. I'm going to watch it, but I'm going to allow this conversation to continue because I want to hear your guys' take on it. But I will be upfront with all of our people saying, hey,
I'm dying.
I did not.
Oh, man. I'm seriously.
All right, cool.
No, you stay right there.
I'll go back in the bag. I'll be more than
He's
happy.
like what Nicole said.
Yeah, Nicole said out.
You stay right there.
Why?
You gotta do whatever your wife says. Sorry, man.
It's because she can't hit all these little buttons and stuff.
Got it.
She don't know what she's doing on this stuff.
You got
Hey,
it.
Techie.
Hey, Techie.
Hi, Techie.
Yes, this timeline is still intact.
Yes.
Okay, so this movie released November 30th, 2016. It pretty much picks off within that year or so of the last movie. Lord have mercy. In this movie, we gain 2 new characters, and they are 2 very important characters in the movie, also in real life. And when I first read about these characters in this movie in the 90s, I was, again, laughing hysterically and also very inspired. So without further ado, Scott, can you throw up, if you can, do you see the one with Uncle Billy? Can you throw that one up first, please?
That'd be the probably the next one you sent right in order.
I did put them right in order.
Okay. So I've got them labeled here. Hopefully it's the right one. Here we go. 3, 2, wait. That's the right.
And it's a really special photo.
No, that's a family. That's a family one. On.
It's because it.
I got to figure out some different way of doing this with StreamYard.
Nope, that's not it. That one's it.
Okay, see, Kim can do
Good job, Kim.
Kim can keep up on this. Here we go. Ching.
Okay, So what is really special about this is one, the picture that's in black and white is the real picture of Uncle Billy and a very young Dolly.
Yep.
And on the other side is Cameron Jones, who plays Dolly's Uncle Billy. Look at the cars, you guys. They even got the cars correct.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, I mean, that's one thing I did notice, even with it, especially in the first one, you know, when the father-in-law, you know, the preacher, her grandfather come up driving up, like, wow, they really got the period right with the cars.
And I'm very impressed because Cameron Jones, not Jim Carrey, he does a very wonderful job as Uncle Billy, and I love the fact again that they did a wonderful job casting him. Yes. I that's the one thing I wish I have to go back and still see is how she felt about how getting Uncle Billy, because that he just did a fabulous job. Oh, he's so cute. Yeah. Thank you, Kim. And of course, we might as well talk about the family aspect real quick of Uncle Billy. Like, let's just jump into the family aspect of this, because he is the one, he comes into town, he's talking to Abby Lee and stuff. And of course, he's giving him money because he's been in Nashville. He's making music and stuff. And he sees something really special about Dolly. And he, in real life, this is what happened. He says he wants to get her started. He wants to help her. He wants to promote her music and get her started in a very good way. And I think also in a way this also helps the family, because that means one less child,
yeah,
you know. So that this movie really does show a really wonderful start to how Dolly got started singing. Or cool. No, she was already singing, but in the sense of going beyond the foothills of her mountain.
Yeah.
So, Kim, what did you think of that part of the movie, Uncle Billy? And
yeah, I loved it. I loved it because it just showed that he saw in her what he saw in her mother years ago, being the brother, and to be the one to step up and say, hey, I see this in Dolly like I did in her mom. I want to help her develop this. It was just awesome.
And I think he saw in her what she also saw in herself, which we kind of saw a little bit in the first one, but they really reached down deeper in this one to show us that she knew and could acknowledge, yes, I feel like there's something more. Yes, I feel like there's going to be something great happening with this. And also with the family theme in the sense that she also kind of, well, I'm not going to leave my family.
Yeah.
And that in real life is true. She always took them with.
Yes.
You're all coming with me.
Yep.
She's all coming with. And I just thought it was so neat to see.
Yeah.
So neat. Again, we were all in this movie, again, we're a fly on the wall watching her life unfold. And it's just so neat that they, again, even down to the car, that they got that right. And they just nailed it. Scott, could you also pull up the other new character of A Circle of Love? I love this. This just made me so excited.
Yes. That one right there.
Oh, yeah.
That one right there. But we'll.
Oh, I love this.
I do too.
Yep. Dolly played the character, the Painted Lady. She calls her the Painted Lady even in her book. I remember as a kid reading about this and laughing hysterically. So I'm like, her parents wouldn't let her wear lipstick and all this stuff. And she saw this woman, she called her the Painted Lady, this happened in Dolly's real life. She saw a woman who was dressed up, and they called her, people called her trash. And Dolly said, well, then I want to be trash.
Yeah.
She wanted to be just like this lady, all dolled up and makeup on and big hair and, decked out. And Dolly did very good job on achieving that goal.
You know, again, without seeing this one yet, but I did say something to Kim after watching the first one, and that was, I wonder what her grandfather thought of her as her career went on. Because I mean, he was kind of, he kind of gave her that look, or when she first went all dolled up, trying to get to church quickly, and and she went walking in there. I mean, obviously, no one taught her how to put makeup on, so she just put it on the best she knew how to put it on.
Right.
And
she's basing herself off of the Painted Lady.
Right. And
that's who she based herself off of.
And so, I just wondered, again, I've not done a lot of homework to find out where, like how old or when he actually passed away. I mean, I think I did read where her parents actually lived. One passed away in 2000. I think the other one was in 2003 or something like that. And it's like, wow, they really did live a long life. And, and yeah, again, like you're talking about, I mean, I saw things where Randy was on the road with her. He also in her band, also as a backup singer. He was also a musician himself. He did a song for Rhinestone Cowboy.
Right, which we will totally be talking about when we get to music and movies.
Right, but I'm gonna hit this one real quick with this sidebar about Randy. And I believe I read it was 1980. He had a single release for Roll On Highway.
Yeah.
Which 2 years later was re-released by a small little country band named Alabama, who made it number one.
Yeah.
So
1992 is when is when Grandpa Owen passed away.
All right, so he definitely got to see her through a good portion of her career.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I was like always wondering, like, I wonder what he thought of how she looked as she got older,
Mm-hmm.
But it just makes you wonder sometimes.
It does. Absolutely, it does make you wonder. And I'm sure that's also more in her book. It's just been a while since I read it, but I know a good portion of it. But again, when I heard that the Painted Lady was going to be in this, I was so excited. And then when it ended up being Dolly herself, I was like, oh, it's Dolly. She's playing this character, and this pivotal character, really, because it is true story. You get to see also where Dolly grew her inspiration from in regards to, again, her makeup, her hair, her clothes, her attitude. Oh, let's make a special note here about Dolly's attitude towards people. Okay. Because again, she told her own parents, well, then I want to be trash. You know what I mean? She didn't judge this lady.
Right.
Other people were judging her. And even at a very young age, Dolly could see the beauty of this person, of her personality, of who she was. And it wasn't necessarily, not only, it was beyond the makeup, beyond the hair, beyond, it's like she could see that. And I think that is something that Dolly had from when she was younger, is that she could see the beauty of people and people as you are. And I think that's why a lot of people love Dolly and have grown to love her, is because she was very accepting of everyone, whether they had painted makeup on or not. That's how she was, and I love that about her.
Right. She's actually done shows where she's had like Richie Sambora, of famously known for Bon Jovi, come on stage with her, and all these different art. I mean, at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Rob Halford of Judas Priest talked about how he danced slowly, got over to her and helped sing on the song Jolene, and he was at that moment he fanboyed out. He thought what he did, how he did, was being a weirdo, or it was weird, and all the fans like, oh no, it was really cool that you snuck over there and got to sing mic to mic with her. But to find out that he felt like he was fanboying out at that moment, it's like, wow, I would have never expected to hear Rob Hall for Judas Priest say I was fanboying over Dolly Parton. But the thing is I think for this, she learned this, during the whole coat incident. From being mad at mom for making her wear this, rags sewn together, ugly thing, and then her mom kept saying, you know, it's the eye of the beholder,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, and stuff like that. And that's, even though I know this is like barely not even a year removed yet. I mean, we're a few months, you know, into this movie where the last one finished off, and I can understand her, you know, grabbing a hold of that and saying, no, I'm not going to judge people, you know, and maybe even take, I mean, I'll throw it out there, you know, those without sin throw the first stone,
Right.
or cast first stone, you know,
Mhm.
and that's right out of the Bible. And again, that is awesome if you can live your life like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I look up the people who can do that.
Mhm.
Her mom is that way.
Yeah, she is. She
Her
is.
mom, I mean, she literally accepted her ex-daughter-in-law who got divorced from Kim's brother.
Yeah.
And she said if she came to my doorstep looking for a night to stay, she could stay here.
Yeah.
And my mouth dropped. I know her sister Karina's mouth dropped. Was like, what?
Yeah.
No.
Well, and that's another thing too, that as I was watching this and watching her progress, she reminded me a lot of my mom.
Mhm.
How, you know, how my mom is sort of like Dolly's mom.
Mhm.
She's religious. She believes in God, and she accepts people for who they are. She's not one to judge. She is not one to judge like Dolly.
Mhm.
And so when because I'd always wanted to see these two movies because I had seen previews of them, but just actually watching them, I could relate to a lot of what was going on with her. A lot.
Right. And that's what this movie is just like the other one. It's became very relatable. And again, the same themes kind of run through, just slightly different. You know, we still have the family theme, but they also added in love and sacrifice, the sacrificing of your own money, and so that they could get their mom. And then Dolly, being a smarty pants, was able to get them both wedding rings. I loved that. And so that was really good that you got, again, this family theme again ran through both movies. And again, this time around we got to see it with Uncle Billy and the family. And again, we got to see that music begin to grow more. And then we had that, again, this sacrifice. Again, when you go to watch this movie, again, you see this situation arise about Christmas. And again, if you don't know, but the Partons were very poor, and they, you know, they had wanted to get gifts for them. And then all of a sudden her mom had seen, Avalee had seen, you know, a ring. And then the kids came together with dad and went, okay, we'll give up our toys. And, you know, they gave their money, you know, here, dad, take what we have, so that they could get something for mom. And Smarty Pants Dolly was able to outdo the lady and get one also for the dad at the end.
So now, of course, I know I said I did watch a little bit of this because I did see the very beginning of it where the kids were everybody was in school, and you know, there's the wish book.
Yes.
And I'm just like,
we've all
dude, I can freaking relate. You know, I mean, I remember, like, I mean, I know me and Kim we talked about during Christmas time this last year. You know, obviously, me and my sister, you know, 3 books come in, you get JCPenney's, Ward's, and Sears.
Yep.
You know, we with only being 2 kids, it's real easy to separate. One get this book, one get that book, and then we'll, you know, rotate books.
Trade.
You grew up in a house of 5
Yes.
siblings.
Yeah.
How did that work?
We had to take turns.
Or you did what they were doing. They were all gathered around.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We did that too. Once that wish book came in, it was either we share or we all just sat at the table and looked at it together.
I mean, I'll tell you this much. If I grew up in a house of 5 and had to try to do this share thing, I'll use the keyboard as an example. That'd be the sharing with Scott. It wouldn't have worked. He would have taken it.
Scott does not share, people. That's what you say.
Well,
like no, hands off.
But imagine, because they also had to only, like, they picked one thing each.
Right.
Yeah.
One. And
I
of course, Dolly wanted her red shoes.
I know. And I'm thinking about that going, oh my gosh. I remember my mom said, okay, get your notebook paper, make your list. Now, of course, in Christmas '83, that list is now going, oh yeah, I want Death Star, Millennium Falcon, Jabba the Hutt playset, Luke, Jedi, dark or black Jedi outfit, Rey in slave outfit.
Now just pick one.
That one, this one. And I make this friggin' list. It's about 5, 6, 8 pages long, front to back. Obviously, this one we're talking double. Of everything I wanted there, and of course, because I also in '83 it's got. Oh, I'm also getting into music. Okay, electric guitar, amplifier, drum set. Oh, still want my model train. Model railroading. And I mean, yeah. And of course, me and my sister. Of course, my sister got her Cabbage Patch Dolls and Barbies and blah, 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 the stuff that never needed to be made.
But now you can only pick one, Scott. One.
Yeah, it wouldn't
one
work.
item. And can you find one of those items under under $3?
No.
Okay, or the equal of let's go $3 then probably let's go like $10. What would the item be? Off that list, under $10.
If it had to be under 10 in
1983 standards. And that's probably a little high. I probably should have went like 6. I should have doubled it, not.
Yeah, I mean, probably an action figure then. I mean, I'm trying to remember I can't even remember how much cassette tapes were back then. It had been the other thing too on that list would have been music.
Yeah.
It would have been all these bands that I, either found, because at this time in '83 is when 83, 84 is when I'm starting to gravitate towards. I'm being introduced to hard rock and heavy metal.
Yeah.
And so my tastes are changing in music. And yeah, like I said, this list was crazy. Mm-hmm. I wish my mom would have saved them.
Yeah.
And said, when we became adults with our own families, like, here's your guys' list from all these Christmas years. You're going, are we crazy? But I remember.
I wish your mom would have kept those lists and handed them back to you when your daughter was born.
Right. Oh, honestly, I would love right now to have that list just to see what was all on there. And yeah. I would love to see when those lists right now. I mean, I know a few items on, especially like '83. I know that had a lot of Star Wars on it. I do remember that. And like I said, I mean, a lot of music was on there. And plus, I mean, never did I put clothes on there. And of course, when you open up those ones for mom and dad going, this was not on the list. No, but you need new clothes. Isn't that what school year shopping for?
Not everybody has school year shopping.
Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing too. School year shopping with my family is hilarious real quick because my mom got hand-me-down, got hand-me-downs from other relatives. From other relatives. And she swore up and down she never wanted me and my sister, to go through these hand-me-downs. So my sister was always the one, pennies, we got to go to the mall to get my clothes, right? And Scott's like, where's Kmart? And I'm looking for all the t-shirts and stuff.
Yeah. Brandon actually just joined us in the chat.
Hey, Brandon.
Hey, we talked about him earlier. Maybe his ears were burning. So getting back, I absolutely love the fact that they did show us about that family sacrifice, to get mom and dad something special. Also because it was a Christmas, we also got to see friendships. Again, that theme of friendships coming back and believing in each other. And again, Judy Ogle is, the character, again, they kept the same actress, and then she just did an amazing job.
She did.
So Kim, since I know you watched the movie, what were your thoughts about this coming together? Her and Dolly being close, and the friendship went separated, and then they came back together. What were your thoughts?
I liked it because by the time they came back together, she actually understood. Dolly understood what a best friend was, and also understood, I should have listened to you and not forced you into something that you didn't want to do. But the light in all of this was when Dolly says, the only reason I wanted you to be the angel Gabriel is because I wanted you up there with me because I feel comfortable with you being my protector.
Yeah.
And that hit Judy because she figured out that she did it for her to not because she wanted to stand out, but because she thought Judy as a friend high enough to have her as her protector for the pageant.
And I think that friendship, well, it still expanding all these decades later, and so it's so neat to see the roots really taking hold, not just like, hey, now we're friends, but no, now we're real best friends. And we got to see them go through a situation and how they originally didn't agree, but it's like so interesting because it's like Dolly believed in her and we could almost see where she didn't believe in herself.
Yep.
And then we could kind of, it was interesting because it's almost like an introvert and extrovert, and you're seeing them kind of go head to head. Am I right? And that's how they are. And then she's like, but no, you don't need to be a donkey's butt. You know what I mean? Like you deserve to be more. And I agree with Dolly. She agreed she needed to be more. But then I guess when you find out the real reason, like you were explaining, is that she's like, no, you can be my protector. You're here, and then you're like, oh, but let's talk about the funny scene. Okay. Miss Moody invites the girls over. She knows that Dolly is saving money. I know. See, Kim's laughing already. This is good. This is Get Your Motor Running song. Laughter.
Head on the highway.
Okay. So Miss Moody invites the girls over. They don't know that they're both there. I think Miss Moody did this on purpose. Don't you agree, Kim?
I agree.
To get them scuttlebutt. I mean, to get them talking together again. And the walk through the house, Dolly had never seen a radio, they've seen a regular radio, but they've never seen anything more than what they had. Never saw a actual, okay, people, back in a different time and space, there are things called outhouses. You had to go outside and use them. Dolly had an outhouse growing up. She did not have indoor plumbing. And as you can hear Kim laughing, Kim, would you like to explain to us why you are currently laughing? Could you please explain the scene?
She goes into the restroom, takes her shoe off, sticks her foot inside the toilet, and in comes Judy, and she says, "Oh, Miss Moody has her own foot wash." No, that's like an outhouse, but it's an indoor plumbing. And she goes, "Oh."
I want to know how they got those girls, though, to get to that point of such innocence.
Yeah.
Because it really did feel like they'd never seen any of this stuff before. You know what I mean? Like when she's like, and then she was explaining, not the vacuum, but the little duster thing. And like Dolly's face is just like glowing. And you could almost like see her like little wish list in her head, like Scott's Christmas list just being created. Like one day I will have all of this and more.
But, I mean, just listen, you guys. I mean, the thing would be but those are practical. That's practical. Like, oh yeah, when I get older, I will have all this. For a reason. Versus again, most of us, especially, I mean, I'm not saying everybody, but most of us have grown up with indoor plumbing that we don't even understand. I mean, obviously we've used porta potties, which is pretty
close.
Cool, barely close.
I'm waiting for my dad to get into the chat because I know he's listening in. I know my dad's told me the story. I know one of his grandparents, because my dad's family's from the Carolinas, from the mountains actually of the Carolinas, and that they had outhouses. And I know he shared a story about that. I'm waiting for him to get in there. Be like, oh, I did that, or I had to deal with that.
I don't remember the exact story, but I know I heard my grandmother talk about one time. I know I heard both my grandfathers talk about one time, and I'm just like, okay.
We have no idea. We're like lost as a society right now as to how much we have grown.
Right.
Like, and how much we really should appreciate, because now it's almost like a right versus a privilege. And for her, that was like,
that was luxury.
That was luxury.
I mean, it's like going back and watching a YouTube video where they're showing the old, not only mean the old record ones, but the old cylinder wax recordings, and they spin that, get it spinning, and you're like, wow, we came from that to, everything being on this little thing, on our phone. I mean, our phone, I mean, it's kind of ironic. Our mobile computers, they're not even a phone anymore.
Yeah.
It's so much, and the fact that we have all this stuff there, it's like, you go back, you look at, I mean, that's why I love going to museums and stuff, because it's like, I love seeing the old technology, or things from the past. I mean, I've been to the Reno National Automobile Museum, and holy crud, there were some really cool vehicles in there. And I mean, I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm looking for the bigger steering wheels. No, there's stuff in there. They're literally driving like this. And I'm like, how? But that was that was the early days of it.
Yeah, it was.
And just looking at it, and again, we're, I mean, obviously this is 1955. This is not that far removed.
No.
No. But the fact is that, I'm sure there's still probably a few today who, that still have the outhouses, and may not have indoor plumbing yet today. Especially when you get into like this, those regions in the Smoky Mountains and stuff like that. There's a lot of area there that's probably still hasn't been discovered or gone through. I mean, there could be people there right now that we just don't even know about,
Yeah.
But, I mean, but yeah. All right, back.
Okay. With the friendship also, we talked about Judy, but then again, we got to also see the Sanderson clan grow with friendship. And of course, one of the Sandersons, he got to be Joseph.
I was there. I did see
Dolly was just like, him?
Yep.
But Dolly wanted the part so bad. And who knows what the teacher was really thinking. But it was so interesting, though, to see even that friendship grow between, again, the Sandersons and the Partons. And to see them, again, kind of be more accepting and loving and kind of each other.
What I love, okay, so now I had seen this all the way up to where Dolly and Judy had the falling out, where Dolly talked to her mom about, she wanted Dolly or Judy to have a bigger part versus just being the donkey's butt. And that part where they're getting ready to announce who the teacher's going to announce the cast. And then she says Dolly for Mary. And then just as she's about ready to say to Sanderson, the Sanderson's sister is like, yeah, go ahead and eat it. He's holding a bug.
Yeah.
And then pops that thing in his mouth as the teacher says he's going to be Joseph. It was like, oh my gosh, that was so perfect. And it
was good job on the cameraman, man, because they caught that angle well.
I told Candace, there you go. That's country. I'm like, I guess you better get ready to start eating some bugs. And she kind of gave me that face. I'm like, hey, remember,
they had hornworms in the first movie.
It's just grub. It's just grub.
Protein, Scott. Protein.
Yeah, I was thinking of another movie. It's just grub.
I know, but I ain't gonna eat the grub.
So yeah, that was really good too. And then again, we also had the other theme of faith come up, because in this movies, see, my dad, hold up before I go into the faith theme. I told you my dad's got stories. This is true.
Honestly,
I told you my dad had a good story.
I don't blame him. I mean, I'll honestly say I don't blame him.
For those who are not in the chat.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this as an audio and you're wondering why we're laughing right now, this is why you need to be part of the show on Tuesday nights when we're live, because yeah, I
This
mean, we're
comment
laughing.
that's in the chat is
We're laughing, but the fact is, I'm also thinking of, yeah, I can relate to a point on this, because it's like, same thing would happen to me if that happened to me.
Yeah.
I really don't want to say. I want everybody that's listening to this as an audio go, the fuck,
I need to go rewatch this on YouTube and see what they
yeah, right,
what comment was this.
right, because it's up on the screen right now, so which means it's actually on the YouTube side of it. So yeah.
Yes, this is a story I knew about growing up, and I always thought it was funny. But then anytime I went to the Carolinas to visit, we were always on alert. So anyway, so getting about on Faith. So again, the story covers again, we get to see again the beginning of Dolly really coming to terms with, Uncle Billy and things like that. But then of course everything with the friendship, but then we get to the Faith part, and a horrible blizzard happens. And through this all, they have been trying to save money for her dad, for her dad, Robert Lee, to get their mom, Ava Lee, a ring. And, and through this all, a blizzard happens. They've sold the preserves. What was your thought, Kim, when all of a sudden you knew that there was no food or this main stuff that was down in the cellar?
I was going, oh no. What are they going to do now?
Mm-hmm.
Because they had no food that mom had canned to even eat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, what's the next step?
Right.
What are they going to do?
Right. And this is also interesting because Uncle Billy had come back, and that's how we know that the food was, because there was a special thing that he liked. She was supposed to go get, and she covers her own butt by going, whoops, and acting as if it broke when really it was a glass. But then we get to see this other Faith part, because through the movie, Abby Lee has dreams and visions. And I have other friends who totally believe in dreams, believe in, visions and things. And Ava Lee starts having these dreams and things through the movies, of what's going to happen. And I'm going to start, of course, it has to deal with the blizzard. It has to deal with the fact that they weren't going to have food in the house. And Robert had went off to work in a mine so that way he could pay off the ring. He was trying to save and take care of his family, and that was a part of it. And that was quite a nail biter of a moment. Like, what's going to happen, And then Grandpa Jake went to go get him.
And the mine actually caves in. And Grandpa Jake is sitting there. The thing I like about this whole sequence,
yes, I got like goosebumps. Gets me so excited.
He actually saw a heavenly person help him out, thinking it was his friend Floyd. And then when Floyd says, "No, I left you behind because I'm sorry, but the mine was caving in," that's when the preacher says, "I knew God had you in his hands. Mm-hmm. I knew he had something for you." And and I thought that was the first part of the most beautiful
I'll be right back.
Go
ahead. Keep going.
Yeah. The best part of the one of the two beautiful parts, because you saw at that point, oh my gosh, he went from here to here in faith. And his faith was just so strong that he actually had higher help to pull him out of the mine, and actually survive the collapse and actually start working his way back home to his family. And so that was actually the one of the two beautiful parts. And then the other one is coming up with the whole them being snowed in, no food, no wood, all huddled together around the fireplace. Also, that comes to another beautiful part as well. And that one is
beautiful moment.
Yeah, it's another beautiful moment. And it was, and when Nicole gets back, we'll discuss it. But
okay, well,
but there was another. Not only were those two beautiful, but there was one other beautiful part in that whole in the show, and that was when her and Miss Moody were in Miss Moody's house, and Miss Moody went and got her jewelry box and brought her the brooch.
Oh, I love that scene.
Yeah. The brooch, and explained what the brooch actually meant.
Oh, not that type of brooch.
Yeah, and what it meant to her, and to have Miss Moody say, I see a lot of my ancestors in you. So when I get down, because she was missing her dad at this time, I just hold this to my heart.
Right.
Yes, my family's heirloom has been wore through the generations on wedding dresses, but for me, I wear it around Christmas. Yeah. To have her actually give that up to help Dolly get the 2 rings for her parents.
And then that scene is hilarious.
Yeah,
it turns from so serious and emotional, and then all of a sudden for her to go, and you're pricing for those rings, and you're going to give me 2 rings and not one. I mean, the little whippersnapper.
Yeah.
She's so clever. Hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah, but that was the other beautiful moment in there. And then the final moment. The final moment of the whole show. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. And again, Faith really did rest in that family very well. And again, it works through this second movie where, like you said, with the angel coming to him, and then they got through the blizzard.
Yeah.
They got through it and overcame. And that exciting moment at the end, where the two exciting things I think of when I think of this movie is at that end anyways, the excitement of the rings. And of course she got a box of chocolates. That's what the kids got to share.
Yeah.
But then Mom hands him
little
hand warmers or finger warmers. But that she was pregnant.
Yep.
And I'm like, so exciting. And I mean, that was, I feel like, again, but I think that goes right back to family again. And I think that was also their faith shining through, because, maybe she didn't think that because of everything that's already happened.
Yeah.
And now here she is, just to move on and to grow again. And I wish, and I sometimes wonder if they'll ever do a third one.
Yeah.
Would they ever go to show teenage Dolly? Would they ever show this one moment when she's about to go from leaving Tennessee? She doesn't leave Tennessee, leaving the mountain to go to Nashville. Yeah. And then of course meeting her husband. It's so exciting. But of course this is long before she's really to that point, people. Okay.
Yeah.
Because this is young Dolly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Kim, how many coats would you give this movie? 5.
5.
Agreed. I agree. It is so good. So good. Scott, could you throw up the next photo? It's actually a behind the scenes photo. Stella Parton actually had sent it out years ago on Twitter, and I was able to find it. I love this. It says, these girls will be bringing my big sister Dolly's song, Coat of Many Colors, to life tonight on NBC. And that right there is Stella with little Stella, Dolly with the little girl who plays Dolly. But that is also the real life Judy Ogle with the actress who plays Judy. And when I saw this photo, I was like, oh my gosh, we have to show that tonight, because it just really shows you the friendship and the family qualities of this. Wasn't just like, hey, we put out a movie and here it is. No, they lived it, and they're still living like this. And the family value is so important to Dolly, and so is in friendship and her faith. I love it. And then I wanted to show one more. Okay, first of all, when I first saw this photo, I'd seen it in black and white in my book. I was able to find it in color And I thought this would be a good way to kind of wrap up the Coat of Many Colors conversation in the movie, because it kind of brings us up to date slightly. One, remember this is from a book from 1994. Okay, sadly,
94.
Parton has passed away now, so they're officially now 10. But if you can throw up that last siblings photo, and I will actually read it right here. Back row, left to right, we have Randy Parton. Fun fact, I got to see a lot of these at Dollywood, especially Randy Parton. He was one of my favorites. I got to see him perform several times.
Nice.
Then there's David, Willa Dean, Rachel, which you mentioned Scott earlier, which I cannot wait, which we will be talking about 9 to 5 again. Then Dolly. In this photo, you can actually see, I don't know if they've added her parents into this, because the photo I have here, I'm wondering if that was added in, because that would have been her parents, Abby, Lee, and Robert. On the front row, you got Cassie, Stella, Denver, Frida, Floyd, Bobby. But in my book, it also says, not pictured here, Larry. He's deceased. And of course, that just breaks all of our hearts all over again, right?
Right.
So the fact that she included, like the fact that she always included Larry, always tore my heart. But I just realized that they added, somebody went and added her parents into this photo. I have this photo right here in black and white. Look at the wall.
Hold on.
Look at the wall.
Oh yeah, somebody did. Yeah.
They added her parents.
Or, the way photography worked, maybe the parents weren't, they're off behind the scenes, behind the camera at that shot. Then they took another one.
Well, remember, this is 1990. And this photo might even be older than 1994. This could be even 80s. So, yeah, I'm like really surprised, because I'm trying to think if there is. Oh, I love this one. Hold up. There's her and Judy.
Yep.
I love it. I love it. I love the fact that they're just so exciting of all this stuff. Trying to think. Oh, I can show one more on top. Hold up. If you go back, and it says Fred Foster, me, and Uncle Bill in the studio. So that's her Uncle Bill.
Right on.
Nice.
Yep. So cool. So cool. And I think I might have to like reread this book and review it, because it's always been a favorite of mine.
Awesome.
But again, sadly, Randy has passed away, but I thought it would be good to see them as adults. You know what I mean? Circle level, it's a full circle of them,
If I remember when I looked it up, I think he died of cancer. So as LG would always say, cancer.
Yeah. And then,
doubled.
Yeah.
The cancer.
That's what we think.
Yeah.
That's what we think, cancer.
Yeah. And then just to
all diseases.
Yeah. Just to kind of wrap this up. Like I said, I watched.
Oh, you gotta wrap it, put a little bow on top.
Yeah. Like I said.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
like Dolly, we're going to add some rhinestones too, right, Kim?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Diamonds, rhinestones.
Rhinestone cowboy.
Right. I'm like, hey, I was about to say that. Yeah.
Anyway, just to kind of wrap this all up, as I mentioned earlier in the show, I actually watched the interviews that came after the two movies, because that was part of the package. And to have her, after that movie, say, I still believe to this day that guardian angel I saw so many years ago that saved us from that blizzard is still with me.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's one that has a lot of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so awesome to see
her grow from that.
Yeah.
To continue to grow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved both movies. I'm glad we got them, because I'd rewatch them.
I do own them as well. I have as a double feature, and I love them.
so this is what happened. So when we talked about this last week, I'm like, I'm thinking, oh yeah, we got to have both, because I remember seeing the Christmas one, but
yeah.
So I'm thinking, yeah, we got both. I pulled down the DVD, because that box right there's a DVD, or the case right there is all of our DVDs, because we put the books in the bookcase for once. And I pull down the Blu-rays and I'm looking through. I'm like, we don't have either of these. And then also I find the Blu-ray for the Christmas one.
Yep.
And then I go looking through Amazon. I'm like, I swear I ordered both of these together. And I went, oh, that's right. I looked at the year that we got it. And I remember, oh, yeah, that's right. They did not have a copy of, they had the double feature, and they didn't have a copy of the
Go to Many Colors.
Go to Many Colors. And so it was one of those ones we were supposed to get. So it was like, then after being blocked from my phone to even pull it up from the website you gave me, I was like, okay, forget this. Where else can I get it? I'm like, Apple. Okay, wait. iTunes has got it. Double feature, $14.99. I'm like, all right, dude, look at, double checking all your configurations that you got and go, get it. We'll pick it up. Now we own it. We don't own both of them together. So, I mean, again, I will go pick up a physical copy, try to get a physical copy of the original or the first one, because you never know when they just, I mean, the thing was, you brought it up also, when we were off air last week, well, it's on Peacock. And I'm like, yeah, it is, because I remember seeing it on Peacock.
Yeah. And I watched it many times. Many times.
And then all of a sudden, and of course, the minute we're ready to go do it, it's like, no, they're not on Peacock no more.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How? Why NBC?
Yeah. And then, the other thing that I really liked about this too is she released them around Christmas time, which was the perfect time to release them. And then how she just, at the very end of the Circle of Love, how she says, a Merry Christmas, always keep your family close. I mean, that just tells you exactly what type of person she really is.
Right.
And it was like the most beautiful, she ended both of them the most beautiful way she could. And I just loved it.
Well, we're supposed to keep our family close, then I guess better find all the snow clothes. We need to move back north.
You know what I mean?
Right now, my daughter's going, yes, move back up here. I can have babysitters. Because she knows I'd babysit heartbeat.
Yeah. But both of them together, they're just a beautiful portrayal of what she actually went through in her childhood. And then to go and see to go and see how she held on all these many, many years to what her values really were for family, church,
faith, friendships.
Yeah. To me, it's just awesome. It really is, because, like we were discussing, any interview that I've ever seen with her, the number one thing, or I should say the number two things that she's always mentioned is God in her life and her family.
Yep.
And she always says, if it wasn't for God or my family, I would not be who I am today.
It's true.
Yeah.
And like I said, there was just so much in these movies that I could relate to. And, on another note, on the flip side of the coin, I grew up with her music too, which is another subject for another day.
Which we will be doing.
Yes. Yay! But just to see her come through and actually know that she had a hand in this and that Hollywood didn't ruin it was the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah. That's what I said. I'm like, I always wondered or always wished that they would just do I want that third one. I want that one more.
Yeah.
That shows us that next big step in her life.
Yep.
Because
knowing Dolly.
Yeah. Because we know that after this, the following year from in this movie, Avi Lee tells her brother, give me one more Christmas with her. Yep. One more. And then, so we know within the next few years that happened, that she finally went with her uncle and started singing and professionally, because her uncle was a singer and a songwriter, which is another. I cannot wait until we dive into her music because we're going to go there. But I'm so excited that
we're going there.
We got to talk about her roots today, because once we go there next time, we'll already we're kind of kickstarting to that point, because already we've already now met her at her roots, at her beginnings.
Yep.
So.
And also watching this and knowing that she actually wrote her own music, it also ties into another movie that was a TV made movie that was also with her and Lee Majors, called Smoky Mountain Christmas.
Oh,
where she literally plays the famous singer trying to get away.
Yeah.
And where does she go? Back to her roots.
Oh man, I'm telling you, that was one of my.
Yeah.
We might have to do like a Dolly Christmas one special, just for like Patreon or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
Patreon,
again,
but
it is now.
Alrighty.
So yeah, I'm good.
I'm good. I'm excited. I'm excited for next week too.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. What is next? What was the title of next week?
I don't know if we have a title yet.
We don't.
We are diving into.
Honestly, I'm thinking we're just going to
women.
go.
Yeah, we're going to be diving into the lesser known women of Star Wars. Our choosing. There is somebody on Twitter, Duchess Satine. I'll have to look it up. She had put out a challenge for people to celebrate Women's History Month with it, and I said, "Hey, would you guys be interested in doing this?" And thankfully, they're awesome and they're so cool. Hey, Bronco Fett. So we'll be talking about, again, some of our favorite lesser known Star Wars women characters, or maybe they're very well known now, but maybe have smaller roles.
Right. So. And actually, by doing that, that's actually what helped make the second annual Music March Madness actually follow March Madness.
Yep.
Yes. A little closer, because everybody knows March Madness does go into April.
Yes.
So this got an opportunity, but I think it's going to be a great episode. It literally is the Obscure Women of Star Wars Challenge.
Yep.
And so even if we don't come up with a title, I might even just go hashtag that,
women.
Women. And I may just go with the hashtag with that as the title. So stay tuned. But yes, definitely next week, that's what we're going to do. We're going to, if anybody wants to be, if you want to be a part of the show, let us know.
Yeah, exactly.
We can have a few extras on, talk about some of your favorite obscure or lesser known women of Star Wars. And there's not really a criteria whether or not it sticks to the theatrical movies, TV shows, or books, including Legacy.
Yes.
So, or comic books. So, but yep. And
we're gonna all be picking a few.
Tom is definitely ready for Mando. Obviously tonight.
Woo, Mando!
I think when 1 a.m. happens here, which would be 3 a.m. on the east.
Yes.
2 a.m. here.
I will be watching the second movie.
You'll be watching it.
I don't know. I might be on a video game by then. But random fact. Oh, here we go. Yoda's blue with long gray hair in the book.
Oh, okay.
Yoda.
I don't know. It was the last time I checked.
Right. But anyway, so tonight was a great night. Again, I apologize for not watching the second one.
We'll forgive you.
I plan on watching it, so I'll give my little stars next week or coats next week at the beginning of the show. So somebody keep me on. Remember that, so I'll remember to do it.
Watch the movie, you must. You can't argue with Yoda.
Oh, I can argue with anybody. Yoda would not have had no time for me. But yes, definitely. Isaac, yes, tonight was fun.
Thank you, Isaac, and thank you to everybody coming into the chat and watching tonight and hanging out.
Why do I feel like this has got to be something like tire blankets or PJ1 or something? Bronco speaks oh gosh,
Portuguese.
Thank you. So yeah, he always loves getting me with those ones, so it's awesome. But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out with us tonight. It was a great fun night.
It was.
If you've not seen these TV movies, if you got Peacock, just pay attention when they come back, or
buy them. Buy them. They're worth it.
They're on Prime for like $3 to rent for a night or 24 hours actually,
or just buy them.
Just buy them. But and then after next week, I mean, next week's gonna be fun and great because we're gonna do lesser women of Star Wars, lesser known women of Star Wars, and then it's much madness.
Yep.
Which is gonna be fun.
It is.
It's gonna be a blast. We're definitely doing a lot of blasts from the past, like we did last year.
Yes, we are.
This year we get to have a lot more fun with it because we got Nicole.
Yes.
Me.
Just threw Yoda.
Oh no, the Force is bringing him back.
On my head, I fell. Oh, but anyways, again, we want to thank everybody who joined us in the chat tonight. If you are again listening to this as the audio only, please consider joining us on Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central.
He's not poor, Yoda. He's a good Yoda. He's rich in love.
I think he's talking about poor Yoda for being thrown.
No, the Force brought him back.
And then Ubaldo's his awesome way to end February.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't believe it. Tomorrow's March 1st.
I know.
Wow. And with that being said, I am Scott.
I'm Kim.
I'm Nicole.
And until next week, have a great week.
And a good weekend.
Be kind to everyone. And of course, Scott's never ready. Is he? That's why we're just going to keep this going because that's what Scott does. But until next week, peace, everybody. Good night.
Good night.